Alright, what is going on, everybody on YouTube? Griffin here, coming back to you guys with another live stream. Just wanted to make sure everything was up, going all right. Looks like we are. Good connection, everything good to go. So we will go ahead and just hop right in. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, we do these live streams usually on a once a week basis, usually Sunday evenings. Right now it is about 8:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time. Playing around with the time frame, seeing what works best for you all specifically. You can let me know in the chat or in the comments if you're seeing this after it uploads, what times would work best for doing live Q&A specifically on Sunday evenings. Usually we're doing them between, anywhere between 4 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. essentially, Central Time in the U.S., so an hour later on the East Coast. But with that, we're going to go ahead and just hop right into this video. And of course, if you're new and you're going to be joining any of this live stream live, this is all for you guys. Essentially, that's why I have the chat pulled up here. So if you have any questions at all in regards to, starting and growing a pest control business, you can shout it out there in the chat below. If you don't know who I am, I'm actually the owner of the company Preferred Pest Management out of the Dallas, Texas area. If you look us up on Google, you'll probably see 2 locations on there in terms of our, Google listings, an office location as well as another, location as well. We've been in business now, not 3 years exactly, but about 2.5. Actually like right on 2.5 years now, and we grew this business to over a 6-figure business per year, recurring revenue, and of course just growing that, day by day, week by week, etc., etc. So just always like to give a little bit of background on who I am, that way you don't think I'm just some random guy talking, a bunch of BS. If I don't have an honest, real life experience answer to your question, I'll be completely upfront about that, because I don't want to give any bad advice or anything like that. I don't charge for any courses or anything like that. I just know there's not a lot of information out there when it comes to, starting and growing a pest control business. So I wanted to give everybody, hopefully an easier outlet to at least just learn from real life experience from somebody who has recently been in your shoes. Like I said, we started my business about 2.5 years ago, back in 2020. So not very long ago. We're still a very new company. I'm still, for the time being, technically a one-man show. I do have a part-time 1099 guy who does like our rodent exclusion work for us. But and we'll probably end up hiring his son actually as my first pest control technician here very soon, is the plan. But as of now, it's just me, wearing all the hats of the company. So pretty much where most of you all are going to be starting, I'm sure. So if you ever have any questions and you just want to, voice them to somebody who's been there recently, done that, may have some experience, that's what I'm here for. Like I said, I know there's not a lot of people that, most of the guys that I see online that are willing to share their experience, they're, either just more so on the investing side of it, or they've had a business for at least 1 or 2 decades. They're like super far ahead, which, don't get me wrong, it's amazing learning from those guys. That's who I've learned from. But I don't know about you guys, I like seeing people go through the journey as well. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just kind of document everything that I'm doing, to where you all could literally, if you wanted to, not necessarily to an exact T per se, because obviously every location is different and this and that and the other. There's, external factors obviously, but within reason, you could almost just follow this channel and kind of, grow your own company just off of the free advice essentially. And if you ever have questions after the stream uploads, you can always shout it out in our free Discord group chat. We have over 230 members now in there. We also have a free Facebook group you can join as well. Links for everything will be in the description box below. And then, of course, we do these live streams. Like I said, we aim for once a week. However, we don't always, life happens. You don't always get to do everything every single, day or week that you dream of as an entrepreneur, of course. So with that little intro, we'll just kind of dive right in. And of course, if you guys have any questions, just shout it out there and I'll answer it as they come in. But with that, the whole point of today's video, we're going to focus more so on the Google business profile side of things. And we'll take a look at Google Ads here in a second, as I was still messing with some of our conversion issues that we've been having as of late. But with that, like I said, we'll start out with the Google business profile. So we have talked about Google business profile before. We dove into it, I believe, on one video or stream specifically, but I wanted to focus on it a little bit more for you guys today. Go ahead and reload it here. The main things that I wanted to hit on the most for you guys is the most important things when it comes to your Google business profile, not in any specific order or anything. I'm just kind of like working my way up essentially. One thing you need to do very regularly is update your listing. So what you can do is there are platforms such as Loomly, which we talked about on this channel. If you don't know what Loomly is, it's a website where you can pay a very small fee. I think if you pay per year, it's like $300 a year, or you can pay per month for like 20 or 30 bucks a month. I think it's like 30 a month to be exact. You save a little money, of course, if you pay for a whole year up front. And you can actually go in there and bulk schedule a bunch of posts. So what I'll do a lot of times is I'll go in there and I'll create these little Canva posts of, just random little posts, and I'll have it post to my Google My Business, our Facebook page, Twitter. It'll post to a whole bunch of your different social media websites, and within one click, essentially, you can schedule the exact time, day. I mean, you could go a whole year in advance if you wanted to with this. But what I try to do is sit down once or twice a month and just pump out, a bunch of content really quickly. Sometimes you're gonna have like at least duplicate photos, which of course Google doesn't necessarily like duplicate content, but we at least go in here and edit the wording of it. We use like ChatGPT, of course, to create, a new little quick, short to the point, filling in some keywords, mosquitoes, mosquito control, and garland, all that type of stuff. And then of course insert your call now, book now, whatever type of link you want to put in there, of course. But the main thing is just updating these very frequently, at the minimum once a week. I would say once a day if you're able to, but if you're starting off on a budget, you don't want to pay for Loomly sometimes. Of course, when you're first starting the business, I know how it goes. It's, money's tight, of course, depending on where you're starting and how much money you have available. If you need to do it by hand at least once a week, just go in there and publish you a post. It doesn't take very long. Canva is something you're gonna want to pay for regardless. It's only like 20 bucks a month, pays for itself. You get these, good looking, you can sit there and play with it, in terms of, creativity wise and whatnot. I was trying to click on this other one here. Let's see. For some reason it keeps clicking. Oh yeah, scroll down. It all depends on your creativity level, of course, but you can go in there and create legitimate, almost like ads essentially for your business as well. So it's a free tool. Canva's not a free tool, but you utilize this Google My Business listing and update capability to, put some free publicity for your business. Google likes it. It shows that you're engaging, your business is up to date. They're not gonna have to worry about, customers having a dissatisfying experience, because if you're updating everything regularly, Google's more likely to push you up that list ultimately. And the list that we are referring to is if you were to type in, for example, pest control near me. Of course, we're right where our location is, so we're gonna show up number one, obviously. But this is what we're referring to. Whenever you open up the map pack, you're gonna see just a list of businesses. And as you can see, for Rowlett, Texas, we're number one on the list. There's a company with almost twice as many reviews as us we're ranking ahead of. There's a company with about 40 reviews more than us we're ranking ahead of, 30 or 40. There's a lot of businesses on here that we're outranking that have been in business longer than us, have reviews longer than us. Why are we ranking ahead of Campbell Pest Control, for example? Let's take a look here. So they've been in business 70 plus years. Let's take a look at their listing real quick. So, they got, I need to click the phone number. They got a good phone number on there, good website. They have their services, which we can examine that even further, to be honest, in a second. So it says they take debit cards, they have their information filled out. Now, when was their last update? Their last update was June 17th of 2020. And it looks like here they were doing almost like weekly updates. Nah, not quite weekly. Weekly to monthly updates throughout 2020, it looks like. But they haven't posted anything in almost 3 years. So, when you have a company that's posting stuff, say we're getting about the same reviews per day, which we almost are. We're both getting about, a couple reviews a week on average right now. Who do you think is gonna, win the battle essentially in terms of listing? The company that hasn't, really updated their listing in a couple years, or the company that is, updating their listing on a daily, weekly at the most basis. So, if you're in a highly competitive market like I am, you're going to want to update this thing, as often as you can, because every little thing will make the difference when it comes to that. So, another thing, not just the updates, we already talked about how important that is. The next thing, of course, is utilizing your description box. So you have this section here, and I suggest filling it all out. You can see here, we utilize the heck out of this. Google does not penalize you for this side of things, for, putting in what areas you service, what your services include. Like, use every single character of this. And where you're going to find this essentially is if you scroll up here, once you have claimed your business and you type in your business name on Google Search, Google Maps, it will pop up, something like this from the laptop side of things, which, by the way, I suggest, messing with your listing primarily on desktop format. I would just use the mobile version just for more so quick glancing over numbers and performance, essentially. So what you would do is you go in here to edit your profile, and as you can see, you have your business name, your categories, which of course making sure your categories is right is a must. I wouldn't want animal control service to be my primary if I'm trying to get pest control customers, because you're gonna rank better for whatever your primary category is. Of course, your secondary category you're still gonna rank well for, just not as well as your primary categories. Which, pro tip, us being kind of seasonal, of course the animal control side of things is usually over winter, early spring. You can flip these things. So say, pest control starts to wind down in September, October, sometimes even August, depending on where you live, and animal control starts to pick up, rodent work, all that kind of stuff. Assuming you do that, you can flip them. So then you'll start showing up a lot more under those rodent categories, and you'll still show up under pest, but you're going to show up a lot better under the animal control side of things. Just a little pro tip there. And then this is that description we were talking about, where you would want to go in here and just literally utilize as many. Look at that, we only had 8 characters to spare. So you of course want to make sure all of this stuff here is right. You have your service area down there, your hours of operation, and holiday hours. Keeping this updated is another thing that you really want to make sure to do. Google will send you emails over and over until you either confirm or deny whether or not you're going to be open or not, or if there's any changes to your hours, that kind of thing. Just going in here and just making sure all of this stuff is right, updating it frequently. If anything is to change on here, updating it ASAP. It sounds basic, but you wouldn't believe just how many people just limp out on this kind of stuff. They just claim their business listing, update a couple pictures, they think that's enough, and then they just move on, essentially. Making sure that you have all of this stuff correct, filling it out, using the keyword stuffers for what they are, keyword stuffers. Just making sure all of that stuff is right is a must. which leads to the next point is your services tab, which even I need to do better about this. You can see they just put in here different things. We do not do these, so I want to make sure, where did they put that? So no, we don't do that, we don't do that, we don't do that. Okay, so save. So again, they're always, looking to add stuff and all of that. And the next point with that is you can put a description on here. Of course, you can put a price, all of that, and then a description. So this is where you want to use something like ChatGPT. Tell it to, write me a description for ant extermination service in less than 300 characters. And then boom, 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 boom. It'll do it for you. And, it doesn't, it takes a little bit of time, of course, because you need to go in here and do every single one. Like I said, Google is always, like when you do home inspection next, Google's always adding stuff in here. So anytime Google goes in here and adds stuff and you see that it's blank, that's your job to go in there and update it for, all of these. These are just keyword stuffing opportunities. The more you stuff these with keywords, we got a lot of them that I even need to do still, apparently. But just go in there and keyword stuff, make sure you're plugging in what towns and cities that you treat, mention obviously the type of treatment, obviously you still want to stick on point, like say flea and tick prevention. You're obviously not going to talk about general pest control or ant control. You want to stay on topic, of course, but you use the opportunity to keyword stuff, because they're literally giving you a free opportunity to just keyword stuff like crazy with this profile. How's it going, Art of Nature? Where can I get a grant? In all honesty, I have no idea in terms of grants. I have not accepted any grants, any loans, anything of that nature. The only thing that I have in terms of, if you want to consider it funding for my business, is a business credit card, which usually the easiest one to get would be a Capital One Spark business card. I can show you guys right here, Capital One Spark Business. So if you look up Capital One Spark Business, it'll pop up right here. There's a couple different ones that you could get. The one that's going to be the easiest to get is going to be the Spark 1% Classic. It's a pretty basic credit card, usually very easy to get your hands on. You can see here, fair credit. And the good thing too is they're very upfront with you about like what type of credit you need. I've defaulted on a loan or payment within the last 5 years. You can have pretty shitty credit and get this credit card, in all honesty, as long as your current profile, shows decent utilization and all of that. You can usually get approved for this. We have this card as well. This was the first card I actually got for my business, and I think pretty much immediately they gave us like $3,000 of credit limit. And we would just use it on like each time it'd be close to the statement date, just pay it off. That way it doesn't, because this one does report to your personal as well as your business. So that's one thing to take into consideration too. The other one that we have too is what, US Bank Business. Get it pulled up here. Business credit card. So if we pull that up here, this one I like better. They do not report it to your personal credit. One of these is very easy to get. Let's see, it's not this one. Business banking, business credit cards. Here we go. View. Which one is it? One of these is super easy. This one right here. And I like this one more too, because the Capital One Spark card, it has a interest rate right from the get-go. There's no introductory 0%. Look at that, 30%. Now, like I said, us personally, we don't even allow it to like really show up on the statement unless if it just happens to, a charge goes on right on the statement date or something like that. But we pretty much pay it off like as the charges show up, essentially, not to the exact penny or anything. Like if it shows 1,067 balance, we'll do like $1,000 just for a quick, easy number and move on. But we're consistently paying that off. We're not like I said, I don't do like business funding or anything like that. I don't like owing money to anybody. The Bible says, as you all know, I'm a believer and always, looking to, take God's wisdom and advice at the end of the day. And the Bible does not say anything good about debt. So, I'm very reluctant when it comes to business funding. I'm constantly having people offer us money, and I usually just throw the mail away. Next time I get something like that in the mail, I'll keep it for you guys, just for those of you that are maybe interested in that. But we mostly just stick to, specifically business credit cards primarily. If you do get with Stripe, which I wanted to hit on this U.S. Bank card real quick first, 0% for 18 months. And then 16.25, so even a lower percentage by 4 to 10% versus the Capital One Spark card after that 18 months. So 1.5 years, 0% interest. I'm trying to remember, and no annual fee, which Capital One doesn't have annual fee either. I'm trying to think if this one has. This one might be one that doesn't have cash back. I'm trying to think if it does. Let's see. Yeah, I think this one doesn't have cash back is the only thing, which is kind of a bummer. But when you're talking cash back on credit cards, think about it like this, guys. Every $100,000 you spend on a credit card, most of them will give you about 1 to 2%. Obviously, there's categories that'll give you 5 and this and that. But okay, let's go with the best case scenario: 5% cash back. $100,000, it's $5,000. $1,000 spent on a credit card is, $50 essentially, right? Yeah, $50. It's not really the end of the world. Me personally, if you're looking, more towards like the funding side of things, this 0% introductory for 18 billing cycles for a year and a half, I mean, that's amazing. This one we have as well. They approved us for, what was it, like 5 or 10,000, something like that. I think 5 is the introductory approval. We got it in the mail. It's like a pre-approval for the business. And ever since then, they sent us pre-approvals for their other cards now, which I haven't even applied for or anything yet. But if I do, I'll let you all know about that as well. But if you're looking from that funding side of things, if they're going to give you $5,000 US for 0% 18 months, that's a good little start for starting your business. And even if worst case scenario, if you need more money and you come over here and your credit's not the best, blah, 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 and you need a little bit more money, you're going to have that 29%, which sucks. I mean, that's damn near 3% a month. Oof. I definitely want to get that one paid off before you worry about the U.S. Bank card, but that could get you anywhere between probably $6,500 to $15,000 of funding between those two credit cards, assuming that the things that you are needing you can pay for with a credit card. Now, if you're needing a truck or something where you're going to actually need a loan specifically, that's where I would suggest going towards the credit union route. Hopefully your credit's good, all that type of stuff. But going to a smaller local bank, they're more likely to approve you as a business owner starting up. Probably going to have higher interest, especially in this financial market that we're in right now. But like me, for example, I got approved for 2 auto loans. Of course, I've been in business for, I have now 2 or 3 tax returns, and now this will be our 3rd tax return that's getting filed this week. And, but we got approved easily. Didn't even have to show any proof of income or anything. So, hopefully that helps. The last solution would be Stripe specifically. That's my notification updating my business, powerless. You would go into Stripe, and then this is not going to be whenever you're first starting your business. This is going to be that's another thing. That's the reason why this option isn't even really an option. They'll start offering you business loans essentially based on your company's, revenue. I just did a short actually about why you need to be very cautious with these loans. For example, if they're offering you $32,000, don't take the $32,000. I beg you, please don't take the full amount. They're going to take 25% out of every transaction you use with Stripe, and look at that 60-day minimum payment. So that's pretty much a $2,021 a month payment that you're going to have to make back for, what would that be, like 16 months essentially, right around 15, 16 months. The fees are pretty bad now. They didn't used to be bad, but I'm sure with the Fed raising interest rates and stuff, that's playing a pretty big factor into it, I'm sure. But you used to be able to get these for like 5% fixed fee. Now it's like over 10% fixed fee. So again, this isn't really an option I like. And if you're gonna do it, I suggest keeping your loan amount to where you're gonna be, at 5% or less of your total, transaction costs. That means out of every $100 that you do in business, they're gonna take $5. Plus your fees are gonna be a little bit lower. Obviously, you're taking a lower loan amount. The percentage is still pretty high, but the one good thing is there's no accruing interest on this. So if you do it from what the interest rate standpoint would be, say this takes you, $800, $400 a month, or $410 a month. This will take you about 14, 15 months to pay off. It's less than 1% a year, or per month. You're probably looking somewhere around, what would that be? I'm trying to think what the exact percentage comes out to. I have a pretty good math calculator in my head, but either way, it works out to, somewhere around 10% a year roughly off the top of my head. So it's about right with the fixed fee rate, but like I said, I don't really care for these. This is kind of like a last resort type of loan. And plus, by the way, if you're getting to the point where you're getting approved for more than $20,000 from Stripe, you're going to have offers that are much better in terms of terms and stuff like that. A fixed rate per month versus, percentage per transaction amounts. And I would just go that route personally. I don't really like this route at all. Plus, it doesn't really help in terms of, starting a business from scratch, because you have to have proof of sales. So mostly your two options are going to be really either a personal loan, or B, getting a couple of business credit cards. We went over a couple of those, the Spark Business as well as the U.S. Bank. Usually the U.S. Bank one, you do have to have decent credit. I think you need to have, if I recall, at least like a 640 credit score, something like that. The Spark is, roughly the same. I want to say at least 620, 650, 640, 650, somewhere in there. So if your credit is not good, then probably the only route you're going to have, as far as I know, is either A, a personal loan, or B, peer-to-peer lending, private equity, somebody putting their faith in you, essentially. So hopefully that, I know that was kind of a long answer, but hopefully that helps answer that question. And I hope you guys are enjoying the stream too. If you are, definitely hit that thumbs up button. I would greatly appreciate that. As we go back over here to discuss more about the Google Business Profile Manager, the next thing, we talked about the importance of filling out the description, utilizing every keyword, stuffing, within reason, obviously, area that they give you. The next and most important thing, most important thing, reviews. I know it probably sounds, obvious. I need to get reviews. Not just getting reviews, but review velocity. So what is review velocity? What review velocity is getting X amount of reviews over a consistent period of time. So Google doesn't want to see that, you get, say, 5 reviews on one day, but then you don't get any reviews for 4 weeks. They would rather see that you're getting one review a week spread out over 4 or 5 weeks than 5 reviews in one day and then not getting any reviews. One, it throws up red flags that either you're paying people to leave you reviews, you're having bot reviews, you're paying to get just pretty much fraudulent activity. That's the main thing, is throwing up red flags, essentially, where if you're just showing consistently, I'm getting 1 or 2 here, I'm getting 1 and 2 there, like every few days to a week or so, I'm getting some reviews, that shows more legitimacy. For example, if we go in, I was trying to pull up kind of my reviews, here we go. If we pull up my reviews and then go into newest, which, by the way, pro tip for those of you that pay attention to reviews yourself, like for restaurants and stuff, always click the newest option. Don't do most relevant. Google does a pretty good job on the most relevant, but click newest, because businesses in general, of course, as advent flows, business could be doing great 1 month and then they could be doing totally bad, especially in the service industry and hospitality industry. Always click newest to have the most updated reviews from people's experience, if you didn't know that already. But as you can see here, our reviews are, relatively consistent. 1 week, 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. About a month ago, 3, 4 weeks, I can tell you this is about 3.5 weeks ago. So they're right on about a month ago. About a month ago, 2 months ago, 2 months ago. We're pretty consistent overall. I need to be getting more consistently. That's why I came out with our business card, which, if you haven't seen our video about like how to turn your business card into profits, definitely check out that. I believe it's a quick video, but I came out with a business card that has a QR code on it that people, whenever I'm done with their initial service, I will literally hand them this business card. It says on there, leave us a review to get $5 off your next service. It's not against Google's terms and conditions, because I'm not paying the customer. I'm giving them a discount off of their next service for leaving us a review. So good little workaround there to stay within Google's guidelines and, giving incentives to give us reviews and stuff. How's it going there, Matt? How much are you spending for Google ads or Facebook ads, and how are you doing in terms of results? I think it brings in 10 to 20 leads a month. We're not running a Facebook ad at the moment. Whenever I was running a Facebook ad, we usually do them for minimal, just because we tend to do them more so for brand recognition, more so than lead generation. Those we usually only run anywhere between $5 a day to $20 a day whenever we're running them. The Google ads specifically, that is what we focus on the most. Which, if we go in here, I was working on our conversion issue a little bit before I started the stream. Let's see, let's just do this actually. Or not even that, because we did our update here, boom. Son of a bitch. There we go. So overall, since we did our update and tweaking to our ad, we've been paying, about $25 a click, just over $600 so far, and this has gotten us great results. Google ads by far is the way to go. In terms of what we're looking at in terms of budget, we have it set up on $50 a day. We're running it, 4 days a week. I'm debating dropping that down to 3, but as of now, we're running that 4 days a week. We're running it between the hours of either 7 or 8 a.m. Let's see, let's get it pulled up here. What hours are we running it? So we're running it. Okay, I did adjust it. Okay, we're running it from 8 p.m. until about 7 p.m. And over time, as this starts to give us a better idea on which time frames we're getting the highest CTR, once we get our conversion tracking all set up, we've been having some issues with that. We're slowly but surely getting it figured out with our website host. We have one, recording, one unverified. Once we get everything figured out there, it'll help us fill in our these damn laptops. It'll help us fill in terms of our conversions, because as you can see, conversions aren't showing anything. Once we start having data come in for that, we're gonna zoom in on specific hours of the day as well. CTR helps a little bit with that, but as you can see, there's no real clean cut like specific times a day, which who knows, we may just leave that running as 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Just run it 10, 11 hours a day. But I got a feeling that over the long run, we're gonna end up adjusting that. But Google Ads by far in terms of lead generation is the best. It is the most expensive, of course. I mean, you can see we're literally right up here with Terminex in terms of impression share. They're ahead of us by 3%, roughly 3.5%. They're outranking by 24, and then the next closest to us is pretty far down there. So this ad obviously must be doing pretty damn good. The fact that we're ranking right up here with Terminex for a lot of these keywords and search terms and all of that good stuff. And by the way, don't pay attention to a lot. I mean, pest and weed control, like, why are these the same thing at all? Like, I don't care about this, Google. Help approve was this information? No, it's not. I wish you could get it to go away, because Google will bombard you with information that you don't even need. But whole point is what I was saying to answer your question. Yes, you can definitely, depending on your budget and depending on the competition in your area, you can most definitely bring in easily 10 to 20 leads a month. Just within the 2-week period that we finally got this specific ad kind of dialed in, which usually takes anywhere between 1 to 3 weeks to get an ad dialed in to begin with. Once we got this one dialed in, we're getting, you can see just by the clicks and CTR, we're getting, probably, if I were to put a number on it, about 1 lead a day on the days that we're running it. There's been a couple days, from what I've noticed, Wednesday, Thursday seems to be our best days. Wednesday specifically, even though you see just 1 click there, Wednesdays overall tend to be the days we seem to get 2 leads from this ad. But of course, it's week to week. Overall, like I said, if I were to put an average on it, we're probably getting about 1 lead a day, which if you think about it, if you're only spending $50 a day on the ad, what would you really expect, in all honesty? Especially during busy season when everybody's running ads and all that stuff. If you're spending $50 a day, you're probably going to get somewhere around 1 legitimate lead a day. Maybe slightly more, but like I said, some days are going to be higher than others, but generally speaking, where I'm at in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, $50 a day on an ad that's doing, still has little tiny things that I'm working on with it here and there, but overall a pretty well running ad that has a decent CTR at the moment. We're getting just about, I would say, a lead a day from the ad. And it could be more, because like I said, we don't even have our conversions completely set up. The only thing that's really showing conversions right now are local actions and other engagement, which isn't really doing anything for us. The main ones, the call tracking with call rail and form submissions, are not verified yet. So it could be a lot more, because we have a ton of leads showing up right now as what are called direct leads through our website host, and those direct leads very well could be coming from this ad as well. This is just what I'm aware of. I would say an average of 1 lead a day, but it very well could be more. I mean, we've had a lot of, I'll show you guys right here. Let's see, new customers. So we added 31 new customers last month compared to only 19 in February. Now, obviously March, you're getting into spring season and whatnot. You're going to have a little bit more customers already, but pretty solid leap overall. And I would venture to say half of them were probably from this Google ad specifically. So that would have been about 15 leads directly from our Google ad, roughly right around there. So, and like I said, that's within about a 2-week period as well. So that's about right on track with my estimate of about 1 lead a day. And I'm talking leads. I'm not even talking this number here. These are actual customers added. That doesn't include the other, where's my leads at? The other, 12 leads or something? Yeah, I have like 12 leads that are still outstanding right now in terms of they haven't like committed to anything yet. So, like I said, I could very well be estimating, what this ad is doing, because like I said, we are still getting our conversion situation fixed. Hopefully Gorilla Desk will help me out with that. They're our website host as well. They're the company that we use for like the CRM and everything. They're also the host of the website as well. You can see, like I said, I was messing with this just before we went live. We're having Google tag issues, which is what's messing with our conversions on the ad. So once we get that straightened out, hopefully this week, I really hope, we should start having a lot more data for this ad. But I can tell that, like I said, that this ad is definitely performing very well. If you're looking for lead generation specifically, Google Ads is the way to go. Facebook, in my opinion, from my experience, is better just for brand recognition. And if you get a couple leads here and there from it, then, that's just bonus, pays for the ad if nothing else. Because, it's like that marketing guru Grant Cardone always says, the best known beats the best. That may not be true long term, but in terms of customer acquisition, they're not going to do business with you if they don't know you. Ultimately, that's why I'm never against running ads for brand recognition. It is not a waste of money, because at the end of the day, if they don't know who you are, they don't remember you, how do you expect them to do business with you? If you're not one of those names that when people think pest control, boom, Orkin, boom, Terminix, boom, Preferred Pest Management, whatever the case may be for your area, if you're not that company. For example, there's a company in my hometown of Columbia, Missouri. I hate that I'm giving him any publicity, because he doesn't need it at all. Which I'm not from Holt Summit, but if you know anything about mid-Missouri, which I'm sure nobody does, this dude here has quite literally the biggest pest control company in mid-Missouri, Steve's Pest Control. It's in Holt Summit, which if you know anything about where the University of Missouri is, Holt Summit is not like super close or anything like that. We can look it up here even on the map. This dude has a jingle that everybody can remember. So Columbia, which is where I'm from, that is where probably at least 50% of his business is coming from. And then, of course, Jeff City, the capital of Missouri, he's obviously getting business there as well. But Columbia is about 2 to 3 times the size of Jeff City in terms of population. So even though this is a solid 15 miles on the map in terms of Google Maps, he's still the number one go-to business in the city of Columbia. Why? Because he is the best known. This dude is on every radio station, every local news channel, ABC, Fox, all that type of stuff. He has this weird little catchy jingle that's easy to remember. I haven't lived there in going on 5 or 6 years now, and I still remember it to this day. It goes, "Now you got a friend in the pest control business, Steve's Pest Control," and it's like a little jingle, and that's the whole ad right there. And just that alone, he's the go-to. People, it's in their subconscious. He's a marketing guru. I mean, I'll give him that. It is what it is. The dude's damn good at it. But the whole point of that story is best known, best remembered beats the best every time, because they're not going to type in, for the most part, especially in these little niche communities like Columbia, Missouri, where it's all about, local guy and stuff like that. They're not even thinking pest control near me. They're thinking, oh man, I got a bug issue. Oh, who was that guy? Oh yeah, Pest Control, oh, Steve's Pest Control. Boom, they just type in Steve's Pest Control right away. So you want to get to that point as a company where you are the authority. You want to be the company that, you know, they're not even looking up pest control near me, best bug company near me, blah, 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 blah. You know, yeah, you're going to have people that are moving from, more likely California, if you're in the state of Texas, people moving in from out of state and stuff, that are going to not know the area, and they're going to look up, you know, best pest company near me, this and that and the other. But as for the locals, you want to be that local authority to where if they have a bug problem, if they have a termite problem, if they have a rodent problem, you want to be that company that they just remember. You're in their subconscious. Obviously that takes a lot of money, but we all got to start somewhere at the end of the day, and Facebook ads is a very cheap way to do that. I mean, the fact that Facebook is so cheap to still advertise for brand awareness, I mean, it's insanity. It shows just how, you know, behind some of these bigger companies really are. Have you thought about increasing your ad spend? And in terms of marketing, yeah, definitely Google for sure. A lot of it is Google search organic, not just from like our website, but of course our Google business listing, which we were talking about a little bit earlier in the stream, but Google ads of course as well. The only reason in terms of ad spend, I've definitely debated this. I've debated jumping this up to about 75 to 100 bucks a day. The only reason that I haven't is, one, we may be getting ready to be in the process of moving to a new house. Obviously that can tie up a little bit of money, at least temporarily. But the main thing is I want to get, once we get our conversion situation, you know, figured out, like I was mentioning, we were having, you know, this Google tag issue, which is throwing off a bunch of BS issues with our conversions. We've been messing with it literally for like 2 weeks now. And we're starting to kind of get narrowed down on what the issue could be exactly. So hopefully this week, at the latest next week, we'll get this taken care of. Gorilla Desk guys, if you're watching, I know you guys know that I talk about you guys on my channel. At least I'm not affiliated with them, but I know they see my stuff. If they see this, I would really, really appreciate if we can get this taken care of, which I know you guys are working on it. If you are seeing the video, I'm just giving you shit, but definitely hope we can get this resolved, because once we get this resolved and I'm able to know exactly the exact numbers on our conversions, and you know, it pretty much, you know, tells me what I'm already thinking is true or not true, but assuming what I'm thinking and estimating is true, it turns out to be that's the case in terms of our conversions. Once I get confirmation that this ad's performing the way I believe it is, I'm doubling or tripling my ad spend, because I know I have a very good ad that's performing well, and there won't be any kind of self-doubt at that point, because the proof will be right there in the numbers and the conversions. Obviously everything else is there. Cost per click makes sense. CTR roughly, you know, makes sense. There's some days it makes me scratch my head when it's under 2%. I'm like, oh, that's ugly. You know, or under 2% even. I don't like under 2. But you know, it does good enough on a lot of days to where like I know it's performing damn good. You know, you can even see it in the search terms. Let's see. Yeah, the search terms that were showing up for pest control near me, Addison Pest, best pest control near me, pest control termite. You know, everything that we're showing up for the most part, you know, is making sense. I'm to the point where I'm not even really having to add negative keywords anymore. I've only added maybe a couple. Now I'm to the point where I'm kind of just pausing some keywords here and there. I'm starting to figure out which keywords are costing me the most versus the CTR. Like, is it worth it? Is it getting enough impressions? So like I said, I mean, I know that this ad is performing good. I would probably be safe to go ahead and double or triple or even quadruple my ad spend if I wanted to. But at the same time, like I said, I'm a very conservative person when it comes to risk and, you know, putting money to work and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I'm not, well, it's funny, I say I'm conservative. To me, I'm conservative because I know what a bunch of other business guys do. To a lot of people, I'm definitely not conservative, and I'm very risk, you know, risk on type of guy. Not a lot of people would just throw $50 to $100 a day at an ad that may or may not make you money, but I feel like I'm overall pretty conservative when it comes to just waiting for all sorts of confirmations. And like I said, once we can get this conversion tracking figured out, and I have, about a week or two's worth of data to kind of confirm my suspicions of this ad, we're definitely going to pull the trigger, which will be perfect timing too, because like I said, we should most definitely get this solved this week. I'll even call them if I have to, and we'll do like Zoom conferences sometimes. We'll do a Zoom conference sharing screens if we need to, because we definitely need to get this figured out. Like I said, we've been doing it for a couple weeks now, and it's definitely not fun for sure. So once we get that taken care of, and I have a week or two of data to confirm my suspicion on how this ad is performing, which is pretty good, we'll go ahead and do that. And it'll be perfect, like I said, perfect timing, because now we're getting into like the heart of busy season here in Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area. March, April, May, June, July, depending on how much rain we get. I mean, we have 4 or 5 just flat out busy months. July and August are really hit or miss, but then again in September, October, and even November, depending on how warm it stays, we're blessed here in North Texas to have a very busy pest season overall. But of course, if we can get this ad, showing the conversions and stuff in April, and we can double or triple our ad spend, then we'll be getting very busy very quickly. And what I'm doing now, it's still keeping me busy, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm wearing all the hats still right now, so I'm sure that's another thing, is I'm trying to a certain degree, I'm probably sabotaging my own growth in terms of our company, because I'm trying to navigate when to bring on my first technician. I pretty much have my first technician already picked out. My 1099 guy who does our rodent work, he has a son that's just a couple years younger than me. Reminds me a lot of myself, young guy that just, from what I understand, doesn't really do the whole school thing and all that. But he's a damn good worker, just like his dad. He'll do the jobs with his dad a lot of times, help him out and all that stuff. And we already have it all figured out essentially. It's just a matter of lining up everything to where, I don't want to hire somebody to where I'm putting them at risk. I'll make sure that they get paid, but at the end of the day, I don't want to put anybody at risk by hiring them too early. So there's a lot that's going into, the growth of the company. We're starting to get near this awkward stage to where, either I'm going to be in the field 10 or 12 hours, or I'm going to have to hire somebody, essentially. So, and that's what I'm saying. This ad has me to that point, essentially. And I'm using the word essentially a lot, too. In terms of creative and keywords, how are you coming up with ideas? Appreciate your time. Your entrepreneurs are Oh yeah, no, I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, it's definitely been a journey. If you, like you said, seen the channel, we've got 400 videos, if not more, if you combine the shorts and all that. Definitely been a journey for sure, and it's still just beginning. But let's see, you said keywords. So what I do in terms of keywords is, we scroll down here and take a look. So you can see, of course, we got the basic ones. I just know, I guess, I never did quote unquote keyword research. There is a tool in Google Ads where you can do keyword research, I should add. It's a free tool. I think it's in here, if I remember right. There's somewhere in here there's a keyword tool within Google Ads. Like I said, I've never used it or anything, but I know, of course, people are going to be looking up pest control near me. Don't pay attention to Google either when it comes to this BS. This is just where Google, like I said, they will throw so much data at you that you won't even know. You'll never think you're doing it right, essentially. But we do pest control near me, pest control, just all the kind of basic stuff. And then another thing that makes everything much easier is ChatGPT. So we have this. So we have this AI PRM. What is it? Wow! I just totally had a brain fart. That notification threw me off. Google Chrome extension or whatever. And it's very, very, very awesome because I can go in here and type in, these are different prompts that people have came up with. And for example, I could type in keyword research, Google ad, or since nothing popped up for that, Google ad. So there's of course a bunch of different things here that you could do. So see, Google Ads keyword headline generation, boost quality scores. Nothing here. Like I said, I haven't even done this, but ChatGPT does make it easy. Let's just say I wanted to do it on my own. I need you to think like a Google Ads expert to help me come up with keywords for a pest control ad. Do you understand? This is how they come up with the prompts for these algorithms and stuff. So it'll say, I understand, blah, 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 here. So look, it's already coming up with keywords for us that we could put in for the ad, essentially. So I didn't even have to ask it to do it. I just asked it, I was making a prompt for it, essentially. And there it goes. It's coming up with all these different keywords. Remember to use keywords in your ad copy. It's literally telling you what to do. This stuff just makes so much of the business stuff so easy. That's why people that don't come up with the content and stuff with the help of ChatGPT, it's bro, man, it's you're almost just being lazy at this point. People that are paying the marketing gurus and stuff, it's you can literally self-teach yourself anything. As long as you're just willing to do it ultimately. But this is definitely, to answer your question, a good route to start if you don't know, if you're just, I know how it goes. I've created a lot of ads that have sucked for our pest company in the past, and you almost get this writer's block, or you went and done the whole ad, and then you get to the point where, okay, it's time to put in keywords, and you're just shit. Obviously pest control near me. Now what? You get a writer's block. If you get something like that, ChatGPT is now here to bail us out. As crazy as AI is and as dangerous as it is, that's a whole other subject for a different day. But it still has a lot of good. These are good keywords here too. Spider control, organic, wasp nest removal, commercial pest control, emergency pest control. I never even thought about that one. If you offer same day service, 24-hour service, that kind of stuff. Pest control quotes, that'd be good for my business because we have that instant quote tool. That's one that I don't even have on there either. Rodent control service. Yeah, this is a good exterminator near me. A lot of us forget about that old school word exterminator. That's the number 2 keyword they have on here. So yeah, and then of course it helps you out to remember use these in your ad copy, headlines, display URLs for optimal performance. You can also use Google Ads like we were talking about, keyword planner, to find additional keywords to refine your list based on search volume and competition. And like I said, from what I've seen, that seems like a pretty cool tool. I have not used it. I might even dive into it this week and maybe upload a video for you all this week or next week about the Google AdWords Keyword Planner. Or maybe we'll go over it in the next live stream, something like that. But literally ChatGPT can pretty much help you with just about anything, and you don't have to have the paid for version. I have the pro version. It's $20 a month. It pretty much makes it where if ChatGPT ever gets overloaded, you get first access. I've never been locked out of ChatGPT where I can't use it. To me, it's worth it because we use it a lot for helping create our let's see, like our blog topics and stuff like that. For example, here's one I think that we did. Yeah, for carpenter ant prevention. We had to come up with, I think, FAQs, if I remember it. Yeah, there's some FAQs in there. And then the whole article, it pretty much typed up the whole thing for us. It came up with a SEO, meta description, all this stuff. So for us, it's worth the money to, have the paid for version, $20 a month. It's a no-brainer. But you don't have to do that. ChatGPT is a totally free platform overall too. So, definitely. I'm going to keep this in here too. That's the other thing is with it being AI, it's learning from all these conversations that you have with it too. I don't know if you delete them, if that matters. I don't think it does, but I just keep everything in here. That way I don't even have to worry about it. It learns based on your conversations too. So, this thing knows that we own a pest control business, that we're using it for pest control marketing primarily, as well as YouTube, of course. And it's an awesome tool that, can definitely help you come up with keywords. These are the keywords that we're pretty much using. You can see we've taken some of them off. Keywords that, I don't know why this, yeah, that's because we had it as phrase match, and now we have it as exact match instead of phrase match, which that's another tip I've brought up to you all before. Make sure whenever you're using your keywords, you put these brackets around them. It's going to cost more per click, but the quality of click is going to be so much better. And a lot of times it doesn't really cost that much more per click. Instead of it being, $6 to $15 a click, you're going to like $15 to $25 per click. It's a little bit more money, but it's not that much more money for such a better quality of click either. And you can see here, a lot of these don't even have any clicks so far, which is totally fine. That's not a big deal at all. Of course you would rather have these put in here still. That way, if somebody searches any of these things, you'll pop up under them still. But the other cool thing about it too is, we can look at impressions. So we can see here, people type in pest control a lot. Oddly enough, this is not one of our better CTRs, only 2%. But overall, 146. But look at this one, pest control near me, almost not quite triple, but about a 5% CTR. So what we could do is we could actually go in here and raise our bid in terms of the cost per click, because I believe we have it stretched across the entire campaign at a max cost per click of $40 a click or something like that. If we look at our clicks, let's see, we have 4 clicks, so we've paid about $26, $27 a click. We could go in here and raise our bid since we're getting such a high CTR for it. Of course, I'm not going to, because like I said, the $1 million thing we're waiting on is our conversions. Once we're able to see, what the conversions are looking like, that's where this ad will just take the hell off, essentially, in terms of the possibilities. But say this is our best performing keyword, we could go in there and actually edit. We could raise our bid to literally pretty much dominate that specific keyword. Almost kind of like a, not keyword arbitrage, but almost just keyword domination, really. But, or, say this one that's at, that's only 2 clicks on 10 impressions. Let's go back to impressions again. Let's see, this one, 12.5% termite and pest control. Let's see, clicks, 3 clicks on 24. That might be worth raising our cost per click on. We're paying, about $20 a click on that. Which, by the way, we do have a guy who we did sell a termite treatment to. That was a, $1,450 plus tax termite treatment. Oops, I meant to hit CTR. It was like a $1,450 treatment, and I know for a fact it came from the, what was it, pest and termite control, where did it go? There we go, pest and termite control. He came from this one, this specific search term, termite pest control. So, yeah, like I said, I mean, that's just one cell. One cell alone paid for, you know, how long have we been running this ad? I want to say since like mid-February. So that one cell paid for this entire ad and then some. You know, the cell hasn't necessarily gone through yet because we haven't completed the service. He's, you know, gathering up the money and whatnot. Most people, you know, get that sticker shock of, oh shit, I didn't know it was going to cost that much. But he's going to do it, like we know for sure. I just followed up with him this past, sometime this past week. And he said, yeah, you know, I got the quote. I'm definitely going to do it. I have to hold off on it for a little bit. So he'll probably do it in April or May. But point being, just that one cell alone paid for all of our, you know, ups and downs, figuring this ad out. And then even from the time, you know, we got this ad dialed in, which was somewhere around the 13th of March, you know, it's what, 3x? Over 3, or no, not quite 3x, a little over 2x paid for that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about this ad at all. I'm definitely going to be adding more money to it. Definitely going to be ramping up specific keywords. There's definitely a lot to come still with this ad. I look for the CTR to go up even more once we get our conversion situation figured out, because, like I said, we'll be putting more money towards the keywords that are performing the best, which leads me to my final point in terms of talking about keywords. Once you run your ad for probably about a month or so, you will have a very good idea, depending on how much money you are spending, how many impressions you're getting, all of that kind of stuff. What do we got going on here? I think it's showing the highest CTR. Once you get it figured out in terms of your impressions, CTR, you know, which is costing the most per click, all of that kind of stuff, and of course what's converting the most, that's the most important metric, obviously, then your CTR is inevitably going to be going up, because you're going to focus primarily on probably just a handful of keywords. I think I was talking about this maybe in our previous, maybe the video from earlier this week, or maybe the stream for last week. You're going to get to a point where you're really only focusing on probably a handful of keywords, probably somewhere around 4 to 8 keywords essentially. And of course, you're still going to be occasionally adding negative keywords in there, but obviously the goal is to get it to where, you know, it's just kind of firing on all cylinders, and, you know, you're rolling in multiple contracts a day, and you're making money, Google's making money, and you'll become one happy little partnership. But assuming we don't have any more questions or anything, we'll probably start wrapping this stream up. I don't think we got to hit quite on everything on the Google My Business. That's not called Google My Business anymore. Google Business Profile side of things. We hit on the most important things, but I definitely want to hit on this more in the next live stream. I might even do another video on it specifically. I know I've uploaded a video on this in the past, but I know we continue to have more and more of you tuning in. I uploaded that video probably a month or two ago, and you all may have not seen it, so I definitely want to hit on this more. They're always adding and taking out stuff from, you know, the Google Business Profile side of things, and it's so important. I mean, we can talk about Google Ads all day, but you cannot beat free leads. And whenever you have this optimize your Google Business Profile, you cannot beat free leads. For example, look at website clicks. We're trending up overall website clicks. We have 52. These are free website clicks. 52 website clicks from our Google business listing. Calls, 23 free calls. Those are leads from your business listing. You can see, of course, we had the dip throughout, cold months, and then last month went up, this month went up. I think our highest month ever, I hate that they only allow you to go 6 months back. It pisses me off. But I think our highest month ever was like 31 calls from this. And again, this is where we're located, is not even the most highly populated area. That's part of why we're considering moving, actually. It's annoying the hell out of my wife a little bit because she's seeing all these houses that I'm like, not in a good location, because we're using that address for our business location. Because I have an office out there. So again, not against Google's guidelines because it is an office. I have an office there. There's little workarounds to all that. This is an office right here. So definitely do this. How about for the creatives? Do you find the ones that perform it? That they do for you. Go back to that really quickly. I think you're talking about this, if I remember right. Tell me if I'm wrong. But they will run a couple of them for you because you usually have to come up, I think, with like at least 4 or 5 of them. And then whichever one performs the best, which, by the way, they figure that part out super quickly. They figured that out for my ad, I think, within like 48 hours, like 2 days of running the ad. Of course, we got our different services, contact us form, all of that on the site links as well. But like this one, for example, is our best performing one. And you can see it actually right here, the overall impressions, clicks, all that stuff. CTR, I think there's, the cockroach. This is a different one, actually. Yeah, this was from our cockroach ad, which we haven't been running in a while. I'm surprised they're showing that. And it's not enabled either. I don't know why it's showing that it's enabled. I think that's a glitch because it hasn't been running for a while. But $50 off. Pest Control is our best one. The picture that pops up as an ad. I may not, let's see if it, shoot, I think I know what you're talking about. I think what I did, because I think I know what you're talking about, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not saying like from the Google business side of things, but assuming I know what you're talking about, what I did essentially was I went in here and just I uploaded a picture of like one of our, can't find it. Trying to find like one of our ads that we might have uploaded recently. But I just made an image essentially on Canva. It may even be easier just to do that. Just log into my Canva really quickly. Let's see. Like this, for example, just created like a quick little picture, and I posted that in there. I don't even think I used this one. This is one I just created today. I was trying to see if I could find the one that I specifically created. It might have been this one, maybe. Yeah, it might have been this one. But you just go into Canva. Dude, in all honesty, Canva looks, at least in my opinion, when I first started Canva, it looks super overwhelming. Like my pictures, I still don't think my pictures are that great that I make, in all honesty. I use this for like YouTube and our business and all that kind of stuff. But like, I'm trying to go back to like our very, very first like photo. Like this one sucks. Let's be real. This looks fucking god awful. And like here, I was trying way too hard. This was like probably last year or the year before. We made our little QR code flyer, a lot of these are god awful. When I like first started, you can see like when I very first started running this, like look at how much text I put in this ad. This was stupid. But like it seemed like super overwhelming, very hard to do, all that type of stuff. But over time, just from simply doing it more and more and more, you get to a point to where you kind of start to figure it out enough to where, your stuff looks, I guess, decent at least. Like, I don't know that any of my ads really look that great or anything like that, but it's just more so, like I said, for $20 a month, I mean, they have a lot of stuff in here, and you can pay for it for a whole year and get, again, pretty good deal, like a month or two for free. That's how we do it, essentially, is we just create an ad for that. I wonder if I can find it in there for you real quick. Would that be, let me see, the creatives, where would that be? I don't know if I can find that in here. I don't really mess with a whole lot once I get it going. But yeah, no, we just created a quick little photo that'd be easy to spot and see. I like to use brighter colors, like a bright green, a yellow, something that's gonna, boom, get that attention. And there's a lot of psychology actually that goes into the different colors too. A lot of people like to use red. That dude Steve's Pest Control I was telling you about, his main color for his everything is red. His trucks are red. Everything's red. That kind of stuff. How do you qualify your leads, phone calls, or messages? Do you have someone? I wish I had someone. So I do it all right now. The good thing is, go into my Gmail here. The good thing is when people put in a lead, I get an email right away. I don't want to show you all like a bunch of information or anything. I'm gonna scroll through it real quick. Oh, their address isn't on there. Good. So they'll put in a lead. I have a certain value. That was another termite lead. And this is what I mean by when it says channel direct. I'm seeing a lot of these lately, and I'm really thinking a lot of them are coming from our Google ads specifically. But point being, I have different values set on there. These are specifically when someone submits a lead form, because on our website we have, oh shoot. We have our specific lead form on here. Now, as for the phone call side of things, so, you'd submit that lead form and then I get the email, and then from there I call them, text them, whatever I need to do. Usually texting, believe it or not, is what people respond to. It's funny, somebody can submit a lead and I can call them literally like 2 minutes or less after they submit the lead. They still won't pick up the damn phone. They know there's going to be somebody calling them, and they still won't pick up the phone. Even though when you submit the lead, it says, someone will be contacting you shortly. They still don't pick up the phone. Usually I'll send them a text right away. Then they either call me back or text me, but it's just funny how that works. But yeah, that's how that goes. And then from the phone call side of things, say they called us from the Google ad or something, or from our Google Business profile listing, whatever the case may be. It's mostly from their phone calls. They'll usually call us. A lot of times I'm in a house or something. Whenever they call, usually I gotta call back. Sometimes I forget and I call back people like half a day later or a day later. Those are the ones that cost me money, because of course, if you're not, for the most part, if you're not responding within less than a couple minutes, they're moving on to the next, or even 30 seconds in some cases, they're moving on to the next company. Now, I used to really beat myself up about that, because I was like, damn it, dude, like that's $500. Like every person that I'm missing out on, I'm just thinking in my head, like that's a minimum $500 to $1,000 a year I just lost. Because I know once people go with me and my company, unless if they're moving or heaven forbid they lose an income source, a job, whatever the case may be, I know they are not going to cancel my services. Like that's just, how some people might call it cocky, but the proof is in the numbers ultimately. We're just going straight up. Like we're not really losing customers or anything like that. So like anytime I miss an opportunity, like I used to really beat myself up about it to the point where I was having like panic attacks and stuff. Whole other subject, but anymore I just look at it as, if they're not willing to wait a couple minutes, they see our reviews, they see 5.0. You know, when a company has almost, 80 plus reviews and not anything but 5 stars, like, if you're not willing to wait a couple minutes, then, you're probably kind of the antsy type that I don't necessarily want to deal with anyway. So I've kind of changed my attitude on that side of things, but it's primarily me. I've been toying around with the idea of like my wife doing it, but she's so like it's not that she doesn't want to do it, which I'm sure if I asked her, she probably doesn't want to do it either, but we have her so tuned in, like with our kids, with homeschooling and, the stay-at-home mom thing, and we're about to have another kid in June and this and that and the other. I don't want to put like more on her plate or anything, so it's just me still. That's also why I know I need to hurry up and get this, technician hired. That way I'm not missing the calls anymore. I'll have my ass right here in my office, and I'll be literally just boom, 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 answering the phone, all that kind of stuff. So there wouldn't be no excuse for missing out on those calls, which probably would essentially pay for the technician, essentially. If that person, let's see, the person should still know about pest control. It should be knowledgeable to qualify a lead. I'm trying to understand what you mean exactly. Like, I get what you mean. Like the technician, for example, that I'm going to be hiring won't be necessarily like answering the phone. So like my plan essentially is, one, to get me out of a truck, essentially. Not that like I think I'm too good to run a route or anything like that. I mean, I wouldn't mind running a route at all, as a matter of fact. But like I feel like I am better being in the office doing, answering phones. One, because I'm a pretty damn good salesperson, because I'm just bluntly honest. I'm not like rude or anything, but I'm just bluntly honest. I tell them what they want, or not tell them what they want. I ask them what they want, tell them what we got, tell them what we can do. And then, people usually like that straight shooter stuff, essentially. But, so that's like what I would be doing, where the technician I'd be hiring, they're more so going to just be, running the route. They will have a business cell phone and handling all the customer service, or not all of it, but most of like the customer relations, in terms of pre-calls, post-calls, whatever the case may be. I feel like you might be referring to if like I were to hire, say, like a call center, like a CSR or something like that. And no, you're 100% right on that. Like say I get to the point, which I know that I will, I don't know why I said if, whenever I do get to the point where we're big enough to where I'm hiring like CSR agents and all that, I'm actually going to put them, because in Texas, anyone that works in your pest control company, they have to have the same like OJT, classroom training, all of that. They have to be licensed essentially for your business. So they are going to go through the same trainings that my pest control technicians are going to go through, which I think will be a blessing, because like you mentioned, they will be knowledgeable in terms of the industry enough to, quote unquote, be dangerous. They're going to know what they're talking about. And I'm also going to have them do continual training as well. It's not going to be just training to satisfy the state once when you first get hired and move on. I'm going to have them in the field at least once a year, just to kind of, if nothing else, one, learn a couple new things, two, reestablish everything that they already knew, just to make sure, we're dusting those cobwebs out, making sure that they're knowledgeable about the industry. Because how can you expect to, like you said, qualify a lead, sell a lead, whatever the case may be, if you don't know the industry that you're selling at the end of the day? Because my CSR agents, they're going to be responsible for selling over the phone. If they're not going to sell over the phone, they at least have to sell the inspection, if nothing else. You need to close, at the bare minimum, an inspection. If you can't close an inspection, you can't close anything. And if you can't close anything, you're not making the company money. If you're not making the company money, well, what am I, not to be rude or anything, but like, what am I hiring you for at that point? So, that's where you definitely have to have your ducks in a row in terms of how you're going to do things. And I think that's probably what you were referring to, actually, was like if you're going to hire somebody. Because, yeah, the technician side of things, they're not really going to be responsible for selling anything. Now, they're going to have a great opportunity to upsell, because a lot of customers, they're calling us for one thing primarily. And, once you get out there, you might see, for example, a hole like this where they, have a squirrel issue or something they may have not known about, and boom, you can upsell my exclusion service. And I'm going to reward my guys, of course, for upselling. But I'm not planning on them wearing a whole bunch of hats where they're taking inbound lead calls or anything, which I don't think that's what you meant either. But just in case if it was what you meant, I probably wouldn't be doing that. But no. Let's see. I thought there was maybe one more thing I wanted to hit on this, but like I said, we will hit on answer very clearly. Yeah, no, awesome. Like I said, we'll probably, in terms of the Google business listing side of things, we'll probably hit on that a little bit more in the either next video, next live stream, whatever comes first, essentially. Like we were hitting on before we got off on the subject of lead qualifying and whatnot, I can't stress enough, guys, how much this stuff can literally make or break your business. I mean, the fact that there's so many businesses, not even just pest control, but plumbers, electricians, a lot of service businesses, and even stuff like restaurants. And just, if you have any type of business listing, you gotta be utilizing your Google business listing. Like I was mentioning, 52 website clicks from our business listing. People don't really use that bookings tool that much. We occasionally get some messages from it. But your calls and your website clicks, I mean, that is literally, in all honesty, if it wasn't for me really focusing on this the last year, literally about last year and a half, it was around January, February of last year when I really started focusing on our website listing, on our Google business profile listing. I don't even know, in all honesty, if we probably would still be in business, but we wouldn't be where we're at today, because the fact that we're probably getting about, in terms of customer acquisitions, on the low end 10, this is super low end, which makes sense, 9 to 12 calls. On the low end, 10 to the high end, probably 20, 25 customers a month strictly from our Google business listing. This just doing this math for you all real quick, and then we'll be out of here for today's stream. What the hell is going on? Just to put in perspective, say you only got 10 customers a month off of this listing. 10 customers a month. Let's use the number that we always use, basic $500 a year contract value. You just added $5,000 a year to your business's top line in 1 month. And this is again, bare minimum numbers. No upsells, no big houses that are, $700, $800, $900 a year for just pest control. This is just a standard, what would that be? About a $40 a month, $45 a month contract value. And only 10 customers, you're literally adding 60, you're leaving at the bare minimum $60,000 a year off the table. If you're in a decently populated area like me, and your average is probably closer to 20, and again, we'll go with, just basic, small, $500 a year contract value. That's $10,000 of recurring revenue a month. Do that over 12 months, 120 grand a year. And like I said, a lot of people are just leaving that on the table. A lot of guys like me are scooping it up off the ground. It doesn't take a lot of work. You use the app like Lumily and just get reviews. That's all you really have to do. It's not that hard. I can't stress it enough. That's why I want to focus on this stuff a lot more in the upcoming videos and streams for you guys, because it can literally be we're talking life-changing money. Imagine if you added just $60,000 a year to your business in terms of contract value. $60,000 a year. Let's say you run your company, you compound that over 10 years. That'd be $600,000 of recurring revenue added. Let's say, this is, again, it's just super, super, super small numbers. $600,000 a year. Let's say you sell that company for about a 3x return. You got yourself a $1.8 million business cash out if you're, looking for an exit. And, this channel, we're all about financial independence, not depending on the government, not depending on Social Security, this and that and the other. So you sell that company, little tiny company, for $1.8 million. You live off of that average 5% a year. You just replace some income. I mean, I'm not satisfied with that, of course. That's about $7,500 a month. I don't know about you all. I wouldn't be satisfied with it or anything like that. But again, we're talking about creating a portfolio in terms of your pest control company just off of your Google business listing. We're not talking about Google ads, Google services, Facebook ads, this and that and the other. And again, we're doing this based off of $500 a month. Let's say you step your game up, you're selling $1,000 average contract value, and you're doing, again, just basic 10 customers. You do that 12 months a year. These are just averages. You do that over a 10-year window. You do that, 3x valuation. Now you just sold it for $3.6 million. Now you are getting to live off of $180,000 a year, which comes out to about $15,000 a month. Not a bad income that, in terms of an investment that, that's just 10 years of work. I'm not selling my business for a long time. I'm probably, if we even ever end up selling, my goal essentially is around $100 million. Like, I don't plan on selling our business till we're at the bare minimum of a $50 million valuation, and ideally I would like to sell it at $100 million to be able to go buy about $300 million for, if I wanted to, but $300 million worth of real estate. This is probably at the age of, what was the math on that? I think my age would be somewhere around 65 to 70 years old by the time that would come. But, you never know. You gotta have your goals. You gotta have your, your quote unquote dreams, all that type of stuff to shoot for. It's what keeps us all going at the end of the day. But, like I said, we're literally just strictly talking about your Google business listing, how it can literally change the trajectory of your business. And then, little hack here, show you all a real hack for those of you that are still watching, or if you're watching it after it uploads. Here, let's do this. Little hack here. We'll go to I wanted to look at the maps. Keep showing up as, I don't want to see my listing. My little hack was get multiple business listings, because we were talking about the power of just your one business listing. Imagine if you get 2, 3, 4, 5 business listings and you start plotting those all over whatever your service area is. Assuming you have a big enough service area. Like, I'm in Dallas-Fort Worth. Our service area is so huge, you could probably have 5 or 10 business locations that are easily going to pump out anywhere between bare minimum $50,000 to $200,000 a year in terms of new revenue added to your business. So, little hack there if you're able to start affording office space, even just something as big as a bedroom. Essentially, if you're able to, there's tons of offices that have little rooms that they'll rent out to you for a few $100s a month. We actually did that in Plano. That's how we have a second business listing in Plano, is because we rented a space out there. We did not renew our lease, so that listing will be going away, but we plan on doing that long term. I just jumped the gun on it, essentially, and it did get us leads. It at least paid for, you know, the location and then some, because we got recurring revenue, of course, but we don't have the customer volume yet to really justify that location. We're not ranking well because we're not getting a lot of reviews. We were kind of, you know, having to pick and choose. Do we want reviews at our Rowlett location? Do we want reviews at our Plano location? And we just didn't have the customer volume to really justify that, because one listing was going up while the other would be dropping a little bit. You know, it was a constant seesaw essentially. So that's the reason we did that. But once you get to that level where you have a big giant volume of customers, you know, thousands of customers, definitely suggest getting a second location. That way you can start retargeting both current and new customers on giving you reviews for that second, third, fourth, etc. locations. But that is going to be it for tonight. We have been on here already over an hour, almost hour and a half tonight. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the stream. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate it so much. It helps the channel out, helps the stream out, helps get the word out to you know, other people that are looking to either start a pest control business, grow pest control business, and not even just pest control businesses in general, not just pest control businesses specifically, but anyone that's looking to start any type of service business that, you know, just doesn't know where to start. Feel free to share it with them, you know, or just a simple liking the stream, like I said, helps a little bit, you know, boosts it in that YouTube algorithm for people searching for this type of content. And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that and hit the bell icon. I try to upload roughly a video a week, or we try to go live once a week, usually on Sunday evenings as well. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Positive Vibes. Appreciate you tuning in. And like I said, if you all have any questions once this video uploads, just shout it out in the comments below. And that's how I always start the Q&As, the live Q&As. I start out with a list of questions that I got from the previous week or two, and then we get the show going. So hope to see you all over in our Discord group chat if you're not already over there. By the way, my TikTok account should be in the description box as well. We're trying to get to 1,000 followers over there. That way we can end up going live on TikTok as well, because I know a lot of people, man, y'all love TikTok, I notice. And I'm obsessed with it a little bit too sometimes. I have to remind myself to get off that damn thing sometimes. But once we get to 1,000 followers over there, we'll be live on there as well. And we do post some exclusive content from time to time on YouTube as well. So it gives you a little incentive to go over there and follow. And then, of course, we have our free Facebook group chat, the Pest Control Entrepreneurs Facebook group, that you can request to join as well. We're almost up to 30 members in there already. It's only been up for about a month or so, and we seem to have more and more of you all joining that day by day. So hopefully you all have a good rest of your night and have a good week. Go out there and make some money, make your family proud, and give you and your family the life you deserve. And I will see you guys in the next video or live stream or in our chat.